I'd like to call up the Lieutenant Governor, Bob Duffy.
Thank you, Scott, very much. Good morning, everybody. As a lifelong Buffalo Bills fan, it's an honor to be here in Buffalo at Ralph Wilson Stadium. I want to make just some quick acknowledgments, if I could. First of all, the County Executive, Mark Poloncarz. I want to thank him. He'll be speaking. Mayor Byron Brown from the City of Buffalo. I want to thank the Mayor for being here. I want to thank Mr. Ralph Wilson for all of his support. I want to thank Russ Brandon, the CEO of the Buffalo Bills. We have some of our delegation here. Senator Pat Gallivan is here, Senator Tim Kennedy, Assemblymember Dennis Gaberzak, and also two key leaders, Howard Zemsky from our regional council, and also John Colmel. It is a great honor and privilege to be here this morning. And before I introduce the governor, I want to say one thing. As a lifelong upstater from Rochester, I have seen in the last 2 years this governor spend an incredible amount of time and effort in Western New York, and specifically in Buffalo. He has made a commitment through the Buffalo Billion to invest money heretofore unheard of in this region to jumpstart the economy. He recently announced the Maid of the Mist. He has made it a point to make Buffalo a big part of his administration, his focus in Western New York. And he has done it consistently going back to day one in office. So it is a great pleasure that I get to introduce the great governor of the state of New York, Governor Andrew Cuomo, to make a special announcement. Governor?
Thank you. Thank you very much. First to Lieutenant Governor Bob Duffy, who's just been a great partner to me over these past 2 years, and all New Yorkers owe him a debt of gratitude. I want to thank him, County Executive Mark Poloncarz. I'm grateful to him for the good work that we've been doing together. Russ Brandon, pleasure to be with you and to finally get this worked through. I'm here with my Director of State Operations, Howard Glazer, who was, pardon the pun, the quarterback on this transaction from the state's point of view, so I want to thank him. I understand Mayor Brown is there, and Senator Kennedy, Senator Gallivan, Howard Zemsky, John Colmel. Pleasure to be with all of you. I also want to echo the Lieutenant Governor's sentiment. Special thank you to Mr. Ralph Wilson for honoring his commitment to Buffalo and the people of Western New York. We thank him very much. Also, Commissioner Goodell, who was very helpful in this transaction, and he remembered his New York roots, so we want to give him a shout out of thanks also. This is an exciting agreement. The agreement basically commits the Bills to staying at Ralph Wilson Stadium for another 7 years. That will take us through 2020. The agreement also recognizes that the stadium is now about 40 years old, and even if 40 is the new 30, it still requires some care and attention and renovation, and it commits us jointly to be spending about $130 million in renovations to the stadium to make sure that it's adequate and it's modernized for the play. It also has us jointly, the county, the state, and the Bills, exploring options for a new stadium down the road if that is financially feasible and intelligent from a development point of view. So we'll also jointly be working on that. It is a fair agreement to all parties. I don't think any party got everything they wanted, but that's normally the essence of a fair trade. The state pays the majority of the funds in the agreement, and I am proud of that. This is an investment that the state is making. It's an investment in the Bills. It's an investment in Western New York, and I'm proud to make that investment. This has been great news here coming at the end of the year, but it's also been a very good year for Buffalo and Western New York. There's a different energy. Things are happening. You had the big University UB 2020 award. The Regional Economic Development Council is doing great work. They won $50 million from the state just earlier this week. As you know, the state has committed $1 billion to reinvesting in Buffalo and Western New York. So you feel Buffalo and Western New York coming back. You feel a new energy. Today is just another step in that direction. Yesterday is over. This is about tomorrow. And I can't tell you how good I feel. And this, in many ways, is a perfect cap to the end of the year. I'm going to be signing the agreement on my side. I'm sorry I couldn't be there in person. We tried all sorts of ways, but the weather just wouldn't let the plane fly this morning. But I'm going to be signing the agreement, and I wish I was there in person, but we'll have many opportunities to celebrate in person. What's most important is that we get this deal done and we move forward for the people of Buffalo. So I'm going to be signing now. I am on the team. Go Bills, go Buffalo, go Western New York. Congratulations to all involved, and thank you. Thank you all involved for making this transaction possible. Thank you.
Thank you, Governor, very much for that holiday present, and it gives me great pleasure to introduce the CEO of the Great Buffalo Bills and the pride of St. John Fisher College in Rochester, Mr. Russ Brandon. Russ.
This is a great day. On behalf of Ralph Wilson, on behalf of the entire Buffalo Bills organization, and more importantly, Bills fans everywhere, I want to thank Governor Cuomo, Lieutenant Governor Duffy, County Executive Poloncarz, and the negotiating teams of the county, the state, and the Bills for their tireless efforts in securing this agreement. This is another shining example of Mr. Wilson's loyalty, his commitment to Western New York, and our unwavering belief that this franchise can succeed long-term in this region. It is also another highlight of Governor Cuomo's tremendous passion and belief in our great community, and you see it every day with the work he's doing. Today is a monumental day because today is a significant step in securing the long-term future of the Buffalo Bills in Western New York. Thank you very much, and I know we have a helmet that we're going to give to Governor Cuomo. My only concern is I'm going to give it to Lieutenant Governor Duffy, and I'm pretty sure it won't make it to his office. So now I'm going to introduce County Executive Mark Poloncarz.
Thank you, Russ. I'll be sure to give that helmet to Governor Cuomo if you'd like. I want to thank everyone for being here. I want to specifically acknowledge my partners in Erie County government that are here, Legislator Tim Hoags, Legislator Terry McCracken, Legislator Tom Mazer, Legislator Lynn Marinelli, and Legislator Joe Larigo. Thank you for joining us here today. From day one, a top priority of my administration is to get the right lease negotiated for state and local taxpayers and the Bills, and of course all of their fans. Today I'm proud to say, as we all know, we've accomplished that goal. On behalf of the entire Erie County negotiating team, my thanks to the Bills organization, starting with Mr. Wilson, and Governor Cuomo for his hard work on behalf of the New York team to get this lease done. This lease, which in all is an early Christmas gift for the Bills fans everywhere across the world. I especially want to thank Deputy County Executive Rich Tobey for the countless effort that he put in as the lead negotiator for Erie County. We all owe him, Howard Glazer and Lieutenant Governor Duffy on behalf of the state, as well as Russ Brandon, Mr. Wilson, and Jeff Littman on behalf of Bills, our debt of gratitude for the work they put in. There were over 50 meetings, thousands of emails, countless of hours that got to this point, and I'm very proud to be here at this point because this new lease ensures that the Bills will continue to be a part of not only Western New York, but this entire region for the next decade, and also, as the governor noted, prepares for the future of a new stadium to be built in Western New York so that we have not only the Bills here for the next 10 years, but we have the Bills here for generations to enjoy and come. Everyone understood the economic realities that face us both in New York State and Erie County, and that's why we've developed a more affordable capital plan that invests $130 million in the Ralph Wilson Stadium and also ensures the structural integrity not only of state and county government, but ensures the economic viability of the Bills here in Western New York. The Bills have been showing their loyalty to this community for over 50 years, and I know we're going to be here for a much longer period. The Bills, as many people talk about, are not just the heart and soul of Western New York, but they are a key economic driver of what happens here, not only in Erie County, but in the binational region that is the United States and Canada. And I know that that will continue for many years to come because of what we will be signing here today, an agreement that ensures that the Buffalo Bills will continue to be the Buffalo Bills. I want to thank Mr. Wilson from the Buffalo Bills, Governor Cuomo, and once again, on behalf of everybody from the Erie County negotiating team, Deputy County Executive Rich Tobey. There was a lot of time and effort that went into reaching this agreement. But as we all know, it is one of the most important things to ensure, which is the future of this organization for all people of Western New York. Because as we know, there are Bills fans everywhere, not just in Buffalo, Erie County, and Western New York, all across the globe, and they will be watching the Buffalo Bills for years to come. Thank you, everyone. At this time, I ask Lieutenant Governor and Russ Brandon to come back on stage, and we'll be glad to take any questions that you may have at this point.
Okay, please, guys, please hold your hands up too when you're, so we know who you are. Okay, Scott.
I guess this would be for Russ, probably.
We love those questions. Yeah, right.
Russ, as you know, with Bills fans, they hear the NFL is looking for 2 teams in Los Angeles, maybe 1 in London. What assurances can you give Bills fans today that this team will be here for the next 7 or even 10 years?
The assurance is that we're standing here right now. The unwavering commitment of Ralph Wilson, the unwavering commitment of Governor Cuomo and Mark Poloncarz, and our business leaders and our community leaders. This is as I mentioned earlier, Scott, this is a monumental day for us. The Buffalo Bills are right here in Western New York, where we're going to be for many decades to come.
Is that a guarantee for the fans?
Guarantee. We are in Buffalo, in Western New York. We are committed to this region. Mr. Wilson's belief in this region 50 years ago is the same as it is today, and we're excited about it.
John, you.
Russ, throughout this entire process, you kind of talked against building a new stadium or didn't seem all that enthused about a new stadium. What changed and what gets you on board that a new stadium might be necessary?
Well, our commitment right now is to the renovation of Ralph Wilson Stadium, and that's what we're going to do moving forward. I think what's exciting about this, John, is that as a committee, as a group of leaders in this community, we're going to look at the potential of a new stadium in the next decade or so and see if it makes sense for our community, and we're committed to do that, all hands on deck from the county and the state.
Jim?
This, I guess, for Mark or Lieutenant Governor, is it a 7-year or a 10-year lease?
It's a 10-year lease. It is a 10-year lease. The first 7 years, it is locked in which if the Bills wanted to leave, the county and the state could demand specific performance, and if specific performance could not be obtained, then the organization would have to pay $400 million. In year 8, or at the end of year 7, for the beginning of year 8, the organization would have an option, if they so choose, to buy out the last 3 years at a $28 million cost. What I will note, though, is people are talking, well, this is only 7 years. As Russ just noted, we are putting together a team to analyze whether a new stadium should be built, and if where the stadium would be, what size, what's the perfect location. In years 8, 9, and 10, the county and the state has the opportunity to start taking money that would be designated for Ralph Wilson upgrades that we do on an annual basis. Half of the money that we would normally spend for Ralph Wilson upgrades can be put into a segregated account to be used for design and construction of a brand new stadium. So this is a forward-looking agreement that thinks about not just today, ensuring what needs to be done for the Bills and to ensure that Ralph Wilson Stadium is a good football stadium for the future, but it's also forward-looking so that we do what's necessary so that at the end of this 10-year period, we're not just wondering what do we do now. We've already started doing the analysis, and if need be, we'll have money set aside to do the design work and architectural renderings for a new stadium.
Mark, $29 million is not a lot of money at the end of 7 years.
I will note right now the Bills could probably leave, I think, for $2 million. Last year, they could have left this community for $2 million based on the prior lease. I know we have a strong commitment from Mr. Wilson and the Bills organization, and as Russ has noted, if they wanted to leave, they could have left for peanuts in the last few years, but they've been committed to this community, and they continue to be committed to this community through the life of this agreement.
Why have that clause in there, then, that 7-year thing? I mean, if you're committed, why even have that?
I think, first of all, 7 years. 7 years, regardless of ownership, the team will not leave. 10-year lease. And I have to say this, from the start with the negotiations, and I'll speak for Russ, for Jeff Lippman, and for Mr. Wilson. Aside from some of the perceptions that were out there, the Buffalo Bills have never wanted to leave. I think they want to stay here. They're a huge part of this community. It's been clear from day one. Looking at the realities, I think you take us through 7 years. I think that's a great commitment right there, and then it gives us a chance, as a county executive just mentioned, this community gets a chance to look at options for a new stadium. And I think anyone, if there's ever ownership change in the future, they look to how much is the community going to support this team. I don't think you can get a better support system than in Buffalo and Western New York for this team. So I think it's a great day. And as I just mentioned, they could have left for far less money already. They've chosen to stay here. They're a huge part of the state as well as Erie County and Western New York.
Lieutenant Governor, talk about how this plays into the billions of Buffalo. I've seen Mr. Cuomo in the front row, a lot of the same faces as were at the rally a couple of weeks ago.
Well, first of all, this is not coming from that money, per se, but it just reinforces the governor's investment. The governor's made a commitment to Western New York. People like Howard Zemsky and John Comel and the entire team here in Western New York, joining with the mayor, the county executive, there's great things happening in Buffalo. Buffalo has been filled with good news, and from somebody who's been here quite a bit over the last few months, being part of certain announcements, there's a lot of things happening. This is like the cherry on top of the sundae for good news, having the Buffalo Bills stay here. So this is really part of the governor's commitment. And I, from a former mayor from the city of Rochester, 60 miles to the east, we often wonder in the city of Albany how much Western New York and upstate New York really, how they're valued. There's no doubting that in this administration. The governor has made a point. His investment up here was to put a stake down in the ground. He's gotten great talent in the private sector and government working together. It's a great day. And I'll go back to during the campaign. I was asked several times, and I was campaigning with Governor Cuomo going back 2.5 years ago, Jets or Giants, always Bills. And him and the governor, I want you to get a picture of Governor Cuomo, the son of Queens, with that Buffalo Bills hat right in front of him. That makes a statement today. It's the only truly New York State team that's based here in New York. And I think it's just one more continuation of the good news and investments going on in upstate New York that I think are benefiting everybody.
Ed, you had a question?
No, the same as this.
Okay. Jim?
What was it, for any of the previous, what was the tipping point that got this deal done this week? I know Mark, you said you had some good conversations Tuesday night. What was the tipping point?
I think it's a tipping point, but I will say this. There was perceptions early on about how the negotiations were going. I think these negotiations have gone tremendously. Credit to Russ Brandon and Jeff Lippman and Buffalo Bills team, Mark and Rich Toby, Howard Glazer, and our team from the state. Like any negotiations, you have to work details out. And there's a lot of public money involved here, but the Bills also are making a substantial investment in this team. So it really is, it's shared sacrifice, shared investment all the way around. And I would say the tenor from the negotiations from the time I was involved that had been tremendous. It's been working out details, and a lot of it is working out those minute details. I would say for those that criticize, and the county executive will hear it, I'll hear it, the governor, the senators, the assembly member will hear it. Those that would criticize the state and Erie County for investing taxpayer money to keep the Bills here would be the same ones criticizing if the Bills left. The Bills are a big part of the fabric of Western New York. They make great contributions in income tax, sales tax. They add to the economic fabric of the state. But if they were to lose, that would be, to me, a shot into the morale of this community and this state. That could not be understated. This is a great investment. It's a wise investment. We could not afford to have the Buffalo Bills leave. And I'll go back. The Buffalo Bills never wanted to leave. That was clear from day one with the negotiations.
A couple more questions, please. Jared?
Russ, the NFL is a stadium building league. We all know that. Is this news there about maybe building a stadium an acknowledgement that long term you have to build a stadium to remain viable?
Well, Sully, we've stayed viable by regionalizing our product and our brand and our great business partners like John Cuomo who are here today. That's how we've stayed viable. The passion and commitment of this region has made this franchise and kept this franchise viable. The last renovation in 1998 was focused on revenues. It was focused on building new suites, building new club seats to keep the team economically viable heading into the next generation of the National Football League. This renovation is focused solely on fan experience and improving the fan experience here at Ralph Wilson Stadium, updating concessions, updating restrooms, a new West End Zone Plaza, new scoreboards. We're committed to making this fan experience as good as it gets in the National Football League. We'll see in the next decade if we can keep our revenues in line with where we want to go in the National Football League and where the National Football League is heading at that point. But again, it's a true partnership. It's progressive. It's proactive. And all the credit goes to Mr. Wilson, Governor Cuomo, and County Executive Poloncarz and our teams.
We've got time for one more guy. Scott.
Russ, if I can call you up again.
Scott, I thought I was done.
Russ, with all due respect for Mr. Wilson's health, and we wish him another 30 years, can you talk about to the fans what succession plans there are should Mr. Wilson pass, and that's the fear of every Bills fan?
I focus on the here and now, and Ralph Wilson is the Hall of Fame owner of the Buffalo Bills, Scott, and the question becomes tiresome. I understand it, but it becomes tiresome. Mr. Wilson's loyalty is unmatched as any owner in professional sports, and I think we should be here today to applaud him.